Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
No borders. We can't track people anymore. No banking system because we'll meet most of our needs. No restriction on governments to be abusive against their citizens. You don't like to live in this map condition, you move to another within seconds. No persecution, because in putting you in prison to persecute you, you can move your body from the cell. There's a lot of things with it. One planet, one nation, one race. You choose the place and space you want to live, where and what time and where to be. There is no need for visas and all the things we create. We are better, you come into us. Why the nations have created this visa business and passport business and restriction? Because we've stolen from you for long enough, now we want to keep it. You can't have it. That's all it is. And the rest has to follow, because if you want to go with the thieves, they asked us to make you something, we give you a passport. Look at the whole visa situation and passport situation in reality in the back. There is no abuse. You'll be in Rome, Paris, in Tehran, or in Africa, or whatever, because they can't abuse you, because you can move on. Would there be refugees? Hence all these things. All these things will become in the history book of them. Very soon. Very, very soon. The biggest problem will be the officials who think they can lose control. So this gas enhancement units which we put in the market now, you buy it, we try to make it them what they call car conversion of it, put it in the back of your car. Nobody can tell you how much you can drive. You don't have to have a fear if you have the money to drive the car. If you're paying €50 a week for the fuel, which most of the people do to go to work or shop or whatever, that's $2,500 you don't pay anymore. That's half of it taxes to the government, which you don't pay, which you have to cover. But the other half does not go to Saudi Arabia. We see the richest monarch, the most abusing nation of their own nationals. As I said to the people we were in this morning, you signed a contract for hundreds of billions to get the supply, and now you don't need. What are you going to do with that 400 billion? It will come to our governments, these things very soon, that we need to be governed by one word. And sooner or later, we set the scene, we imply and apply the scene, that it goes to the Universal Council. You will see in a matter of handful of years, Universal Council will be one of the leading positions even within the United Nations. In the structure, one nation, one planet, one race is I'm a citizen of the planet Earth. That's all it is. Then which part of it you come from? I come from the green part called Europe. I come from the desert part called Africa, the north part of it. I come from the forest side is called Brazil. We don't call ourselves, I'm a Brazilian, Chinese or whatever. They don't know you. They just see a feature of the soul of the man created on planet Earth. As I explained to you, one of the knowledge is when you travel the depths of the universe, the soul of those who come from Earth is very distinct. They know this soul comes from Earth. It's like you Chinese going into Paris and trying to speak French or English. They're still Chinese. Because we see that feature, soul of the man in space has a feature which is the feature of the strength of the souls from this planet. The good thing with Keshe Foundation is that we are not theoretical, we're delivering, and knowledge, science, technology, politics all comes together. We're proud you're born in this time and place, that you can see this transition. My great-grandmother used to say, I've seen how your great-grandfather used to go with camels from Afghanistan to Palestine and come back once a year. I've seen how we went to the cars and the bus and the planes and whatever it is. In my little eye, I've seen the changes. And with your little eyes and your soul, from now on, you see bigger changes in a very short time than our parents or forefathers seen in centuries. Because you're doing it for yourself, and there's not somebody else to do it. That you don't need to learn how to become a pilot or have a car to drive or go to an airport to take a flight. All that now, you're responsible, you're captain of your soul. And you decide, I put my soul into abuse.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 610th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and once again, I am host on this weekly workshop, and once again, we are honored to have Mr. Mehran T. Keshe as our main presenter, and I think he's raring to go for yet another Knowledge Seekers workshop here. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for being here with us today, and please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers from Keshe Foundation and Spaceship Institute. As usual, we welcome you back. We welcome you with open arms as we follow our path of teaching. And we were taught the theory for past 20 years. We researched the theory for past more or less 55 years. Now, for the first time in the world of creation, we see the reality of it. Usually what they say in the world of science in the West to block the scientist is show me that I can steal from you. Put it in a pattern that I can steal from you. Show me and I believe it, because when you show me, then it becomes mine and I can copy it. And we've seen that happen with Microsoft. We've seen that happen with Facebook and the rest of it. How they steal the knowledge from the others and they block till they get it themselves to themselves. And so the pattern has been, show me. As we teach the universal language, universal knowledge, we show it to you. The proof of the pudding is what's in front of you, what's happening with 3I and 2R, or R2, or whatever they call him, this one. And this is the reality of life. Show me. We are showing, you don't understand. Now we explain. I put the foundation for this proof of the concept and what they don't understand and are entangled with it. Last week I opened the discussion. And this week we carry on with it, and then maybe next week, and then we go back again to what we did with we were doing with the soul and with the time. Today's discussion is very simple. Show me. Then I believe it. Going back to what we did last week, what we explained last week, was that we see on the records of what is at the moment in the world of what we call astronomy, in the world of cosmology, in the world of what we call the understanding of the work, how things are, how it came, what we've seen, what is getting reported on both of these units. And when you don't understand it, you block it. And when you don't understand it more, you come up with all fallacies. But if you go on the teaching of the Keshe Foundation for past 20 years, even in our pattern, we have literally clarified what is about to happen, what is to happen, and what we see, how it's explained. We have to understand that the world of what we call creation has its own way of working, not the man way. Man is totally materialistic. Everything man does compares it what the matter is. Man has never understood the energy, and whenever we understood something with the energy, we've given it a different name that it doesn't come into the matter state. We call it soul because we can't understand the central energy, but we call it the sun, but we accept that sun, but we don't accept our own soul to be in our body. And everything else with this. We've seen the scientists who were ignorant and were not scientists but thieves of the scientists, like Stephen Hawking, like Einstein. They have gathered something and they have put it in because they never understood it. They muddled it up, and the scientists like us, who are universal teachers, have to re-explain it, re-put it through. Going back to the older teachings, going back to what world scientists tell us, and compare it, match it with what we've been taught in all these teachings. 610 teaching here, many conferences, many presentations, many other things which we have explained by one. One of the first things we saw in this new 3I has been that they tell us that, as we said last week, traditionally, when we get an object passing through, we get a steam, or what we call space dust behind it. We get the same thing in a jumbo jet. But what they tell us, the scientists today, is that this thing has the thing in front of it, not in the back of it, and the light moves in front. And we always said that's how it is. This confirmed this is a spaceship. This confirmed that is the extension to the knowledge of the plasma, not matter state. In the matter state, you take the energy in as air or whatever, you process it, and you pass it through, and you create what we call displacement of material, air, or whatever. Or you create a momentum that you push yourself through, as we do now with satellites corrections or with what we send to the space, to Mars and the rest. That's the same principle. But in the world of plasma, we create a field, we create a dimension in the process of the whole thing that we go in front of. This has a lot of advantages, and the biggest advantage for the scientist, if you understand it, it gives you that elusive shielding. But one thing which we have not discussed, as knowledge seekers haven't got the knowledge, if you have a spaceship in here, you move into, but you have to create direction of motion. Ahead of this thing is Sun. You have other satellites, Mars, Jupiter, Earth, and the rest. And this system, by law of plasma, has to create a field interaction with these points. In a way, it has to tune into their magnetic gravitational field that it can get attracted into them or by them. We saw an anomaly in the whole process in the past few weeks, which the scientists don't understand. But the American government, Chinese are totally silent about this because it has put a scare up their backside. If, as knowledge seekers, understand what is going on, Americans have put a total blanket blackout in news in what it is, but the information coming, the data coming internally and externally from NASA, Pentagon, and other forces, other scientific channels, confirms everything which we know. We've been teaching. One of these anomalies, which is scaring especially the Americans, is that we had a pre-interaction with the system with satellites. Number of satellites were locked out because of a massive interaction, corona lighting up of magnetic fields between 3I and the Sun. 3I produces magnetic fields on the gravitational field strength of the Sun to get pulled into it with what we call meteorites or asteroids. They work different way. They have an inertia, and the mass of inertia pushes them through to go through different directions with the slingshot effect. This system is not working that way. This system actually produces gravitational magnetic field of the sun, that it gets pulled by it into it. Has two characteristics. First of all, it creates a dimension of nickel 56, which is near to the what we call iron 56, which is the gravitational magnetic field of this planet, the solar system. And at the same time, because it sends the fields through the system, it creates very much like a lightning. As we said, lightning does not start from the clouds. Lightning starts from the earth, sending the charge up, getting a charge to, and then you get it connected, the lightning back to it. So the unit 3I created, once it got into the solar system, a gravitational magnetic field connection to the sun, because it looks for the pull. In doing so, it got fed back, the same as the lightning feeds back to the point, to itself. It got recharged. And this was deliberate. It wasn't an accident. If you're a space scientist like us, if you're the teacher of the universal community, understand how it works, we explained it in the matter state with the lightning, this entity, 3I, has entered the what we call gravitational magnetic field hemisphere of the sun, the solar system. Now it's in a womb. It needs to grow. The scientists give you information. Very original data came, told us this thing has the characteristic of life. It's got amino acid structure in it. As I said, so it can create life. And in that amino acid structure, what they call it, it's actually gravitational magnetic field of the lower strength of the amino acids, around about 43, 42. It allowed it to grow. It's like the way we grow in the womb of the mother. We divide. Once the cell reaches that point, it divides. So when the energy came back from the sun into it, what did it do? It, for some minutes, it went into the spin and it started dividing. It gave birth to subsatellites of the same. And each subsatellite is divided into subsatellites. It's like creating a new creature. It's the way we grow in the womb of the mother. So what the space agency don't tell us, which is now banned from the what we call media, is this thing, 3I, is not one piece anymore. 3I, at this moment of time, has divided into hundreds of thousands, all producing light capacity, because they're all again interacting, our cells, they interact with the magnetic field of the sun, they shine. Some of them, they say, is a strength of 20 Hiroshima bomb. Some of these cells dividing is so rapid that what we see, the actual 3I is clustered by itself children. What does this mean? Means biologically, this thing is dividing by itself, creating satellites, what you call UFOs, whatever you call, but it's keeping its condition. It's a life system. It has attraction towards Earth, that's for sure. Because of the magnetic gravitational field which it creates, Earth will interact with it, will apply to it. So we are not only seeing a UFO, we are seeing a new direction of division of the cells in a plasmatic condition. And all we see on the satellite, especially the one in South America and the Australian ones, are reporting huge lights around dots that are just growing. It originally started with 3 became 9, and then became multiple of. Up to now, we know runs into thousands. How much more is there? But these things are moving. Their target is Earth. Their target is Mars. Their target is Moon. At this moment of time, we do not know. But the world of science now has to understand that these lights which are appearing around, because the scientists never understood that minutes which was silence, there was no sign of the what we call 3I in the sky suddenly disappeared from the radar, was the time when he received energy from the sun. They thought something which they couldn't find out what it was hit by something. It wasn't hit by something, it wasn't destroyed. It actually received the energy from the sun. And actually at this moment of time is receiving energy from center of the earth. It's connected to us. We know this. Our satellites, some of them are reporting anomalies, but the American naval forces are confirming there is a frequency which is going from the waters, from the naval bases into the space, the direction of 3I. There is a communication, there is a field connection between the center of the Earth, gravitational magnetic field, and these systems. We know that the data has been collected heavily by American military and the space stations. Americans moved certain systems in a position to confirm. So we are heading in for an interaction. We are heading in with not anomalies that they see now, they don't understand, but with the plasma technology, we understand how it's done, how it's taking shape. And we are, for the first time at our generation, this cycle of life, coming again in touch with the passage of the universe. The process targeting solar system has been there. The objective of 3I has been target of this solar system, where life can exist, where with it, it can create its own life. It creates a condition of the amino acid, combination of generation of the cells, that what do we see? We are dealing with a living structure which is dividing into cells the way we do in the womb of the mother. How much it will grow? To what extent will it'll go? How they will change, it will come back to us. When we listen to the data coming in from the space centers, people who are observing this, they said it had a fixed shape. When they actually followed this, it had a fixed shape. And they were happy with the shape because they can follow it. But when the division came, it went into the spin. And with all these little satellites from it, the little spin is and could be that it will change shape to the spherical shape, what we see with UFOs. Or it will take the shape of a human. Very possible. That spin is preset to be, is not an accident which is put in. So we've seen the lights, we've seen the division, we've seen the light ahead of it, which shows it's an object which is targeted the atmospheric of this planet, this solar system for life. It's like we can put a sperm and egg of a donkey in a cat, it will not grow. We can put a sperm and egg of a man, human, into another person and it grows. Surrogacy. Because the field environment of the womb of the woman or in a test tube which replicates that is good for life of man in that womb. This system has found its match with the energy within the structure of the solar system. It has found a womb to grow. It has found a womb that it can confirm its existence, division, and life. Military forces have no say because this is not a hostile situation. Behavior of a man of killing, can bring that situation up. But the recommendation and what we advise the nations is to hold back. Let's see what's the next step. Let's see what is the interaction. Is it going to be an interaction? Or would these systems, these structures, prefer to become another fish? They prefer to the life on the Mars, not necessarily on this planet. They suit the environment of this solar system, does not mean they suit the life on this planet on Earth. So they have put tentacles out, as we've seen, to all the satellite positions, Mars, Jupiter, and everything else, to see what suits to deliver, to start a new life. These are those who most probably left. They lost their planet to one interaction or other. Or they are part of the planet which they go on excursions for hundreds of thousands of millions of years, and to them is a few seconds in our lives, in their turn. And the most strangest thing is that we have seen R2. R2 or 2R, it's not an anomaly. It is the sign of growth, the sign of life, which we have to watch. What does this mean? I explain in a very simple case, in a very, very simple way. We know about, I'm trying to move you out that I can see. We know in the world of creation about the egg and the sperm, where we need an egg and we need a sperm. The interaction of the two in the right condition of environment leads to life, what we call human life. We see it everywhere else. There is a possibility, very high chance, that R2, and it's not coincidental they come together, could be like the egg, and 3I is the sperm. They have to meet in the environment of the solar system, is the womb, which has the right condition for life. This is what I keep on saying. Earth is a greenhouse for a new life, new cycle of life, for universe to start. The two interactions are not coincidental, preset. The love of creator, new generation. And because of the earth, the soul we have created, we will affect these, whatever to be born out of. The daughter of Mitra has a direct influence on this structure. So when we see a massive, what we call 2R or R2, what we call the swan, and the 3I, is the interaction, just passing each other, creating the field in the womb of the structure of the solar system. We have to start observing a new life. Change of life on this planet, possible. Creation of new condition of life within the space gap of the, what we call the solar system, is another possibility. But what we see by the division of the 3I, this confirms that they're ready to, in a way, create a massive population in the solar system. That's for sure. Penetrate as many little satellites with one egg energy, you create numerous life in the solar system. It's like what we call surrogacy of the solar system for a new kind of life on this, in this universe. This is why the life on this planet will change. For sure will change. They do not need necessarily to live on Earth, but the energy and the children they produce, fertilized eggs which they produce, landing possibility of connecting to any planet, any moon in the solar system. We are not seeing a hostile invasion. We are seeing creation of new life. The biggest question is, would Earth will become another point? Is the human race, or did the human race originally came to this planet the same way? Would these new energies find Earth or layers of the structure of the material on this planet as the energy level suiting them? There is a possibility, because of the way they came in, the way this, what we call infiltration is possible, they live at the energy level which is somewhere in the center of this planet. Moon, Mars, and everything else. We might not see life physically on Earth, but these will become like the parasites which they go inside and colonize inside. They will land in the oceans, they will land in the planet. We might see them, because we've seen this before, into volcanic eruption areas that they can go directly into the center to get energy. This is a very high possibility, because what we saw originally, the whole division of the 3I came when it took energy from the sun. That minutes of disappearing from the radar of 3I is actually where it connected, downloaded the energy. The scientists to say they don't know, they can't see anything. Go into the literature which is available. They do not understand. They were monitoring it. It's the most observed object in the space, and something hit it. And then it disappeared for a time, and then it appeared again. They do not understand. Nothing hit it. It actually downloaded energy from the sun, because at that time we saw a huge increase in the sun surface of what we call activities. And the direction of the what we call magnetic fields, which was released, is the direction of 3I, directly delivered. That gave it the energy that it could now divide. After that, we saw the scientists to say that it exploded into pieces. No, it needed that energy. It locked in to receive it, to create life. And then we see the division of. It needed that to be able to come into the womb of the mother, arriving of the R2 or the swan, that the energy transfer between the two leads to nourishment, creation of completion of the life. It's like what we see a salmon going up the river, the female lay the eggs, and the male comes and spread it, and then the children are born. It's the same story. But now Earth, now this solar system is the upriver where the eggs are laid. We will see new life. The cycle of postal life could be thousands of years or can be instantaneous. The biggest thing which our scientists they don't understand the interaction of the fields of universe. We will not see the sign of life, maybe. Incubation time could be millions of years to human time. Is the earth the fertile land for it? Or is our water poison to them? Where the oceans of the Jupiter and the oceans of Neptune are what they are looking for, matches them. That's where they can nourish. So what we see, and our scientists don't understand, is what is explained on the table. The earth is the incubation, the greenhouse of for man's or creatures with the amino acid of 42. The solar system is incubation greenhouse for this race. We have to respect them. They are part of us as part of the Creator. It's our obligation to understand, to respect, and if need be, to offer them home. With them comes a massive intelligence. Will come a race which can do such a thing is far, far intelligent than the man. From the geometry of the planet structure, what we saw from the beginning, it shows a very advanced, high energy intellectual body. I always said, my job is to take man into the universal community. Now the universal community has come to man. The reason is the presence of daughter of Mitra. We will get many, many visitors across the universe which are set to bring, to be, is like you want to go to Vatican to see the Pope, you go to the wall, Great Wall in Jerusalem to be near where the Moses was. They come to be in touch with the soul of the daughter of Mitra. And we'll see many of these. And we are not religious. What I explained to you is scientific. The world of science sooner or later will understand. The whole splitting, division, we hear that the Americans called all their naval forces. They keep on insisting on all the naval generals, the land and the rest are brought together. Because the naval forces are the only ones now, they see the changes, anomalies in their system, which is connected, the direct frequency gap as is on 3i. Same time as he shakes there, he shakes in our water. Same frequency as is detected in the 3i is detected in our water. Which means goes through the center. The waters, the oceans are on the surface, but they go through them. As they go through them, they leave a vibration of which we detect, which means they have tuned into gravitational magnetic system of the present time. We have already, in Keshe Foundation, produced the communication line. That can be understood, can be detected. Most probably by next Friday, next Thursday, we'll test. Part of this process is part of the systems which you are buying for the distribution of the what we call newer structure. Hidden from you, but it's part of the universal communication line. And this is what will be tested next week. This is not something scaremongering. This is explanation of scientific data which is provided by national securities, the militaries and the private, that they do not understand why suddenly this is going to be a chaos. No, this is a natural phenomenon. We have guests among us from other part of the universe. The strangest part for humanity is how come they understand our language? How can they communicate as ours? Because they communicate through the dimension of the soul of the man. And we can measure it. As a measurement, when it's converted, becomes that digital 0, 1, and every other dimension. The biggest thing which we see with this 3i, it has emotion. All the cells in hundreds of thousands dividing communicate with each other. They move together. They're not random. They don't spread out. If anything goes out, is done in a batch. Everything is sequential. All know this unit is going to the Mars, this unit is going to the Earth. Is one of the most well-organized structures. Is not hostile. It's part of us. Most probably our ancestors came, the humanity, the world of the what we call animals, creation on this planet, came to this planet this way. My advice to the world government is drop your weapons. Using of the nuclear, using of the chemical warfare, using of something to show we can do, it be detrimental to the whole of human race on this planet. These visitors are here to be touched by the soul of the daughter of Mitra, which is amongst you. And nothing else. The blockage on the news is so heavy because they don't know what to do and how to react. But in fact, we have to wait to see that these two interact, connect the swan and the three eye together, transfer energy, which enlightens the soul of the creation. In a way, we are going through a structure, we are going through a process that, as knowledge seekers, we understand. Is for the rest of humanity to understand what is exactly going on. It's the job of the governments to open the news and bring not a panic, but understanding. This is why I teach this way today. This is why you as knowledge seekers, it might sound ridiculous, the guy is talking, you shall see the outcome, how it will be. Why they are scared to tell the public that this thing is dividing. Yes, it's a cell. Is there a problem if your body divides and creates your liver and your kidney and the rest? Don't they all behave the same? Now we are in that media. We grow our life in the womb of the mother. This structure grows its life in the womb of the solar system. And they've told us they're coming because they have an interaction in understanding, because we come from that point of structure of physicality as them. This is why we can interpret their communication. This is why we understand their communication, because they tune into the strength. It's like exactly what you dream, your soul and the soul of physicality, and you remember their dream in a physical dimension as you change it to the shape of the mother, the love of the mother, the kiss and the foot of the mother. This structure has a field strength, or they have access to the field strength, which can communicate to the soul of the man, to the physicality of the system man made, and then we call it, we have a communication with it. It's no different than the interaction of the soul of physicality and physicality. As I explained to some knowledge seekers in the past few days, my physical life is physicality. The structure of the life on this planet and the way the universe works is the soul of physicality. And to me, the soul of the creator is my soul. This is how it works. This is how the structure is set. And this structure we see use the atmosphere, the condition of this solar system as the womb of the creation. A celebration of new life. As man is about to destroy himself to create a condition that the beauties of the existence of the billions of years of development in this greenhouse for the soul of the man to be collected. If you read and cross every section of what information we received from the beginning of these two, you see We're 100% correct. And it's in line with all the teachings of past years. The scientists, as they work in the matter state, they can't see. They just see the vision. It got hit when you listen to the reports from NASA, when you report hidden reports now in the American military talking about the explosion and the system is out of control. It's not. It's the original data composition confirmed to us, as I said last week. This is a living thing. And living thing and receiving energy divides. And the energy which will bring that division in a way it's the fish, the mother fish, which is laying eggs in the upper river. 3i is the mother fish. It's spraying the eggs. In a few weeks' time, when both R2 and 3i come close to each other, that the R2 releases an energy field force, is like that the sperm that sparks the condition of life and conversion of life on this solar system. And they both are here. Prearranged, yes, this is why part of the universe creates new life. And the soul of the man will have a game to play in this fertilization. The enlightenment will come because of the received energy from R2 or 2R or the swan. This is the black swan that will become the most beautiful white swan universe has ever seen, because it will carry the soul of Mitra and the daughter of Mitra. Ugly duckling is about to open, and the outcome will be the most beautiful swan man has ever seen in the shape of the daughter of Mitra. And the universe will be enlightened by this. Go to the holy books. It always speaks about forthcoming and the coming. Now you understand. Whole structure, entry of 3i is a condition, and we'll see the interaction with the auto. And then would man will be enlightened to see this birth, or is it so high beyond their imagination to understand, beyond the strength of the comprehension of the man to see the creation of new life, which in this life will be perfection? And the seed of it is the soul of those who are created by man. Now we understand the process. Now we understand why two have entered from two different directions, but heading to the same area. Male and a female salmon fly up the same river. And the male waits till the female has spared his eggs, her eggs, that the man can add to it, that he fertilizes and leads to creation of new life, of hundreds of thousands of new fish. We are at up the river at the spring, and the two fish shall meet. Now go and check. Wait for the outcome and see how man will change in the coming months. And if we see a new dimension of life on this planet, in this solar system, and from it, this birth will change the whole dimension of spreading across the galaxies and the universes. Perfection to its absolute beauty, to the love of the Creator and His daughter. We watch, we observe, but watch and see, as they say, it'll happen on the back of the sun that man cannot see, where the love of the Creator will lead to the creation of new cycle of creation. Let nations fight. Let world leaders get busy with what they want to be busy with, but they don't understand that the hand of the creation has much bigger plane to play. You destroy, even use of nuclear bombs, if you come to it, is the nourishment of the energies needs for replenishing growth of the new children of the universe. Now you understand how misunderstanding by our scientists does not allow humanity to watch one of the most beautiful events of the universe. We are too busy with material world, too busy with fighting for a piece of land which is worth nothing, and there's trillions of it in the universe. And we are missing one of the best works of the universe. We are observing it, we don't understand it, and we do everything else except actually sit, watch, and enjoy the time. If I was the world leaders of the present time, I would have put satellites, I would have put cameras, that man learns how life grows, and we watch as when the two meet on the back of the sun that is supposed to be hidden from the man, that touch of creation, where the field of the unification, creation of new life in the universe will merge, and then we watch. There is no danger with what is happening. It's the beauty with what we are observing. As we don't understand it, we make everything else to it except the truth of what is about to happen. 3i needed the energy from the sun to be able to divide, to release. And it needs the swan to bring the additional energy for the life to start. Now you understand why accidentally the two are here, and accidentally, as our scientists don't understand, meet behind the sun, and accidentally, because lack of knowledge means ignorance and assumptions and accidents, which are no accidents, but actually what it has to. It's amazing how our world leaders, how the citizens of this planet will watch the birth of the new life in the universe, and how much each one of our souls from this will be enlightened, educated, and will reach a new dimension and position. We've been waiting for this for a lifetime of the universe, and now we observe. You need to put the soul in the whole interaction, and the soul of the man on this planet will become the soul of each, and then will expand the whole universe on its division and interactions. Now you understand there has been no coincident, accidentally for interaction, entrance of these two objects in the life of the man, in the cycle of the solar system, and in understanding the totality of the work of the universe. I hope I open your eyes to an amazing, spectacular show of the universe, to the eye of the man and to the soul of the man. And let's see what man will gather from this, or still observe something being out of control. I3 is not out of control. It's working exactly the same way to spread in that process the energy which leads to creation of as many eggs. That the energy balance of the swan will bring that black swan to be one of the most beautiful white swans of the universe. Enlightened. And I hope mankind is ready for this. And I hope mankind will understand how much the Creator loves His creation. When you see two lovers, you have to make everything available, conditions bring them to a position to be able to create what we call the fruit of their love. And wonder how much the Creator loved man that has brought for his ultimate creation to be done in the solar system, using the soul of the man. We are servant to the service and understand his work. We go for a break and we come back and we'll try to learn more from each other.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right. This is our break for the 610th Knowledge Seekers Workshop. We'll be back shortly. And there will be an opportunity for people to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. Those attendees in the Zoom here can raise their virtual hands and we can recognize you and open your microphone. And those in the YouTube or in the Zoom can also put questions in the chat or the Q&A. Okay, back shortly. Hello, everyone. We're back again at the 610th Knowledge Seekers Workshop in our second part here. And before we begin the questions, Mr. Keshe will have something he would like to say. So if you're there, please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, thank you very much. As usual, our announcement is for what's happening around the foundation and what is about to happen and what we have. We hope in the next few minutes and what we call the manufacturing side of the Keshe Foundation will offer a symbolic, as was before, mystery packs, one for Halloween, which is about 30 days from now on. The last order should be in by around about 15th, 18th of this month. And one for Christmas again is what we call the mystery packs as usual, and which is one is subject to Halloween, one is for the New Year, Christmas. And there'll be a very limited number of these. It's not a huge number. A special order has been done with a very limited number, and they try to cover it. Our position with the systems is the same. The first three, or what you call it, control units for the communication units, which you're all participating, is just completed matter of past 48 hours. We'll go for its development testing, and hopefully once completed within the next 2 to 3 weeks, then we should start seeing delivery of the units by the end of the month, hopefully, across what we call all the knowledge seekers around the world. And we start going into deliver, and we should reach the 10,000 units by 2027, latest 2026. And it's how we produce the systems. Today, as usual, we are keeping a very tight observation on more or less all your knowledge seekers as you are connected to the systems which we run, and we are observing how you're interacting. And next week, most probably, will be a new system. Many of you will feel different, and we will release what we call the date of the meeting of the October for a test with this new system, which is in a way partially in design works the same as what we call the 3I. We have reached that level of knowledge and technology with our knowledge seekers that will test. Maybe if we can do even beginning tests next week or the week after, that you feel what, and you will go through an experience of the transmutation in a different way, and then we'll see how everything else takes shape in the coming time and weeks. Please support us with as many units. We're still looking for, we have to reach the 10,000 units, and we have started speaking to the governments for allocation of these units in universities and different structures around the world. And hopefully we'll see how everything takes shape and how it'll be. There is a possibility that by end of this month or sometime early next month, if you remember in 2012, 2013, we announced the establishment of the Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seekers Group, which gathered together. We had many applications. We chose about 8, which many of you came to Italy and started the work and learning. It's possible that in the coming weeks we'll announce the establishment of the Research Center for Keshe Foundation worldwide, where you as knowledge seekers come in to do the research. The same way we will announce the fee, how much it will be per person, and what field you want to be. And you spend according to that period of time in research and development in certain aspects with the world scientists which you bring in. That between you and your expertise and what we bring in around the world as scientists will start the collaboration of the spreading of the research center in every aspect of the technology. We'll give you a very few window time, very short time. It could be in the world of medicine, energy, agriculture, and every other way. You live and you more or less eat in the environment of the research and development with your own teams. And this has to be done the way I understand it, will be the best way, by nations. You sponsor people to be in this research. And how many people we can take in? We estimate between 200 to 500 researchers will be in this research center. If our negotiation completes, we'll be living within the environment, literally accommodation within the structure of the research center. There's a possibility we can provide that if you come in for 1, 2, or 5 years, to go in with your families, that you're not isolated. So if you see yourself and you want to be in a specific line of research, once we come to a final agreement, we invite you. We give you a very short time that you become part of the researchers in what we research. And this development will be over the next 12 months. It's not everything is ready tomorrow. In a way, you work with the world scientists to bring in the new technologies from a massive, impressive research center. And then we spread it. In a way, we, instead of doing researches in different parts, we bring the world scientists, the governments, and the different organizations and companies pay to be part of this research. And we give that opportunity to knowledge seekers to be part of this. Once this is all worked out within the next 2 months, we announce it, we give it time. You can, amongst you, decide. It has to be not just a knowledge seeker, it has to be an expert in that field. We just don't accept somebody who knows how to make ganses. If you are computer specialist, microchip specialist, if you are a doctor, you have to be a specialist in your job and understand the work of the what we call Keshe technology and everything else, that you become part of the structure. We just don't want knowledge seekers. We want experts who know what it means to be involved in research. We will announce this in more detail once hopefully we come to final agreement, and then you are invited for at least 1 to 2 years with your family. If you're married, you have children, all be accommodated in that structure within the what I call campus of the research center. We organize everything once we are step by step. Which section would often technology, what part, and as the sections become available, you can join it. As communities, as nations, you can sponsor people to do this. You can be observers to the whole technology. And then we open up the technology in a very direct way into public. Again, as part of this process, we use the structure of what we set up as Macro Corporation of America for direct investments and other things and commercialization between the countries. Please be very, very well understood by all of us. We are not looking for knowledge seekers to come in like last time, 10 years ago, to learn. You're an expert in any field and you think you can be good in research and development of the new technology with a group of world scientists, you're welcome to participate. It will be one of the most impressive research centers around the world, as when you enter the building, is absolutely perfectly set for the new space era. and everything else which goes with it. I hope we can conclude this within the next 30 days, 60 days. The place and the position will not be disclosed, and we ask knowledge seekers to keep the same. Those of you who get the, what I call the understanding to be as part of the World Research Center for the world scientists from all corners of the world, from NASA to Russian Space Agency, to the Iranian Space Agency, to plasma technologists from CERN, they all converge in this place as we are organizing it. But it has to be paid for and it has to be looked after, and it'll be the same. In a way, you sponsor a scientist to be part of, to develop and bring the ethos of what we do and what is about to come. Purely plasma, cosmic ray technology, and nothing else. Step by step, in collaboration with governments and major corporations around the world, this center will be set up, and partially could be in the next few months, if we get a successful OV corporation, you'll be part of the work with the World Space Agencies within the same place and same time. We have already started moving a couple of our leading scientists in Keshe Foundation in the position they have already moved, are moving, and we already positioned a couple of them in a place to start. It's not something going to happen, it hasn't started, but this time it will be done very slowly, and it's part of the agreement. The position, the place of the research stays confidential, even with the companies which we are negotiating at the moment to bring in. I hope when we come now to delivery of the technology on a very large scale through international organizations which we have set up, and you'll see the most of it to come up. If there are any questions, let me know and see if we might be able to answer.
Great, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, well, we do have a couple of hands up already here, so I think we should go ahead with Antonio first. If you could open your mic and ask a question, please.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Keshe. Well, thank you, Rick. I used to look at, in the past, talks, lectures on our space brothers. And the key thing that I used to say, which I agree with you, Mr. Keshe, is that they're 100% friendly. And to fully understand the reality of these space beings or entities is that there are different levels of etheric, and when we can understand that, then we would understand how the UFOs work and how they appear and disappear at will. So it was interesting that what you had to say, and it's something that I've always been interested in, and I don't know if they, there's probably a lot in the background that we're not even aware of that are helping and assisting our planet. My information is that they have helped to a certain extent within law to clean up pollution, for otherwise this planet would be almost uninhabitable today. So probably we need to thank these space people. My understanding, most of them come from our own solar system. So what's your analysis of this 3I and R2? Are they from are they from our solar system?
No, they come from outside, even our galaxy. The structure, what is amazing, it's the lack of knowledge of our scientists. These systems haven't been on the way for billions of years. And now we hear suddenly out of nowhere it's appeared, and then it's here, and we've seen this. These systems fly beyond the imagination of man and speed outside the solar system. So they have slowed down. And in the slowing down, these other speeds we see now are that in this environment, they don't create mayhem. You got to understand that the way, like when you break the sound barrier, you create the noise in the whole environment you are. These systems cannot fly through and don't create disturbance. Even with their entrance and change of magnetic field, they already created disturbances in on Earth technological systems. So they're of a higher order of understanding of the working of the universal systems, how to fly with the high speeds and the rest. But does not necessarily mean they are so good in other things. They are part of interaction of the universal systems, the outcome of, and in understanding the system structure of. This is very clear what we see the structure of the 3i and when we see the structure of the swan. Two different technologies, but in a way, like, you meet man and woman meet in different places and they come together from different part of the world, but they know they're going to lead to or produce a child. One could be from Africa, and one could be from China, and one from, God knows, Europe, and one from South America. But they're two different races from different places, but they have the connection of the emotion of the soul, what we call, let's say, internet, what do you call it, marriages of today. They don't meet, but they're aware of existence. This position of the swan and the 3i is that way. Universes, souls, or energy fields are aware of existence, and they know that Earth is a fertile land, or not the Earth, the solar system. So we're going to have a child in America. So the guy from Canada comes and the guy from South America, they meet in Canada and they have a child. We are that child. We are in that process. And the sooner our governments understand this, the sooner the world authorities understand this, the easier it will be. There's a lot of anomalies in this process that the Americans have deliberately decided to block. And if you go back on some of the internet inputs initially of the division of this, already wiped out now. It's not on the internet. Yeah. They're extensively watching, cleaning up, that people don't get the hang of. This is something happening in space, got nothing to do with us. We're going to create the world, we're going to be the rulers, blah, but how can it change? All has to change. Now at the moment, they are looking after how to look after the tariffs and the other bit and ignore it. But somewhere down the line, the soul of the man will be enlightened with this energy which is released. They actually release it at the end of this month. When the two energy comes together, that flashing light will come together. And we'll see what happens. How our souls react, how would the humanity changes in next instantaneously, next 100 years, next 1,000 years, because these are not things which you do in 1 second and that's it, because we have to see to believe it. Mm-hmm. It's the seed of the child set to grow in thousands of, hundreds of thousands of years across this universe.
Mr. Keshe, that my feeling was that they're here to witness a great event, maybe the awakening of humanity, or possibly.
The witness, but they're part of that structure to create the witness. It is part of, there is a big show. What is happening is not in smaller scale, and most of it is missed by the man. Maybe if the data are released, I explain more, because humanity is not already in what is going on. At the moment, the scientific world was involved in this, they don't even know what they're watching anymore. And it's changing so rapidly. What seems to be the environment of the Mars magnetic gravitational field is more suited than Earth due to many facts, because Mars is about to take the position of the Earth. So there's a longer process available for regeneration. Earth, from the production point of view, is coming to the end of its cycle. Its winter is coming in the cycle of the creation of the planetary system. And Mars is about to take its place. So if I was an investor, I invest in this house which is going to last longer, which is the Mars, than the Earth. But I still like to see how we look. I invest in the people who are on the Earth to be able on the Mars. This is why we keep on hearing the world of news of cosmology, that this object is destined, is tracking towards the Mars. Would you like to live in the house which is about to fall down, or is the one which is going to be erected? It's going to be the long time there. I know where I will. But you still need some citizens of the old house to move to the new house.
As Earth gets closer to the sun over the millions of years, wouldn't our physicality change as well, and we become on a different dimension?
We are changing. We are changing quite a lot. We have changed and we keep on changing. The intelligence is changing. It's not just because we're receiving a higher strength field that we're getting closer. Millimeter by millimeter, we're closing it. And this will give us a different opportunity from maturity of understanding the world of creation. But for sure, we are witness to a massive change. And our scientists are looking at, oh, the thing is dividing and each one is a light. If you look, each cell of us divided by the mother, if you watch it now, we understand, is a light inside the cell, a combination of the cells. As we divide, we don't go dark. These cells, bright interaction with the field of the womb of the mother, or in the side of a sperm and egg, they shine. Now we see this. It's one of the biggest things, the what do you call it, the astrophysicists said, oh, it got hit out of nowhere. You follow this. They keep on saying, 3i got hit out of nowhere, and then it was blanked out, and it came back with 3 and 6 and dividing more. It didn't do any of that because you don't understand. The direction of the flow of the light ahead was giving indication that this thing is tuned to the sun. It wants to receive. It needed that energy to divide, to release its parts, its satellites. They're literally like UFOs. That it becomes an egg seed. As this spreads the eggs, as it's going towards the sun in the next 20 days, 30 days to go, the rendezvous point of the egg, which is the R2, this way hundreds of millions of these eggs, because they keep on dividing the way our cells divide in our body, and suddenly from an egg and a sperm we become a man with millions of cells for different jobs. Then that energy release, they'll take more energy from the sun. What is interesting that will be observed, we might see a huge flash in the background of the sun when these two disappear. When coming the two fields, like the daylight, the two fields interact, we might see a massive light even overwhelms the light from the sun, possibly. And that is when the the what you call the seeds are get fertilized, which become bodies. We call these UFOs and the lights which are coming out. And then we'll see a new cycle. We see what comes up. As I said to a scientist yesterday or the day before, we are watching a birth and a love making of two. And what light will that create, what joy that will create, we'll see it. It's very possible, very, very possible. When these two come together, crossing each other, when the energy of the swan released to the energy of the eggs of the, what we call it, the divisions of the three eye, they trigger that cycle of life. And then we have the soul of the man. How much of that energy we will receive? We receive huge amount of energy. And with that energy, because it's a plasmatic in the dimension of the amino acid of the man, what would be the enlightenment? Would we all feel and think different after November? It's really interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting to watch what's about to happen. We are in a test tube called the solar system. We are that liquid which they're going to put the egg and the sperm in and see how the child will be born in that test tube called the womb of the solar system.
Beautiful.
It's the reality. This is not fantasy. It's a reality which the world of science is not aware of. And this is the biggest problem. Look at the new literatures with American bloc, especially last week. They went out wiping this thing out of the internet. Is why every division is so much brighter. It's each one has more energy than nuclear power stations of this planet pulled together. And it's one little dot which is divided because they don't understand what it is. They receive the massive energy from the center of the sun at a different strength. The biggest thing is when they meet across each other on the other side of, coincidentally, to be away from the humanity supposed to be, but in a way could be the reason that they don't want the energy to hit the humanity in one go. By being on the other side, they're saving us. Everything in this encounter is calculated to the point. If this explosion of the interaction of these two release in front of us, most probably blown this planet to pieces. Sun can absorb it, but they tap into the energy of the sun for that interaction too.
Mr. Keshe, I would assume that the planets of our solar system would be aware of what's going on, and they would be in agreement that, that there would be no harm to us the way it happens.
We shall see.
Yeah.
We are place of the rendezvous, and we have no say in who comes to the rendezvous.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are just the object, and we are not the subject.
For me, Mr. Keshe, it's the Space Brothers are real because I've seen them on several occasions. So very hard to convince anybody else, but for me, they are real, and they look different each time. Sometimes like bright star, sometimes like a cylinder.
Nobody believes us when we tell people what we've seen, but we know what we've seen. You understand?
Yeah.
I've been in that position. I used to live in a house, and in this house, the old man died years before. The wife was still living, not in that house. I think she escaped from the house to the house next door because of this. A few times I sat and I saw a shadow, black shadow, like a rope, moving from the staircase into the living room where this guy's desk was there. And this desk was left. That was where I used to do a lot of teaching. But when I saw it the first time, my hair on the back of my neck stood up. I saw a black shadow moving, and I knew there was nobody in the house. And then I saw it for the second and third time. I said, I'm not living here. This guy's got something to do, it's nothing to do with me. I actually left the house.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. We can't change it. We are witness to something. Maybe at soul level, we are born to be part of it. And the physicality is observer of it.
It's very exciting times.
Oh, it's observing time. It's a time to observe.
Yeah.
And it is something we have to move on with and understand.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed. Any other question?
Well, I note that people, well, both around me and noted in the chat here, are feeling things, feeling different. There's a comment. Where was it here? Well, from Andrea says, what a wonderful goosebumps teaching. Thanks to our creator. Where was that previous comment? I was here. Just a second here. Oh, there it is. From Catherine, who says, good morning. What a wonderful energy is floating. So much love. And Andrea, after that, says, I agree. And others, I find, somehow amongst all the apparent chaos that's going on the planet and whatnot, people are feeling this sort of surge of love and connection, even with strangers. Sometimes you can make a deep connection just in passing, and perhaps that wasn't available. That kind of energy wasn't as readily available in the past, and it seems to be more electric and in your face, so to speak. That love energy. It's almost like the 1960s coming back. If you can
I think it's come to the point. We come to the point that humanity has reached a point of maturity. When I look at this massive energy which was released by the sun towards this tree eye, that energy affected us. We see part of it. We are part of it, and we are matured by that energy, one way or another. It's just we just watch this and what happens, and how much it will go. I just received a message. I think you should have received it the same. That the packages, what they call mystery packages for Halloween and the New Year, have just been released by the team. The Halloween pack has put us surprise packages of the bat, the cat, and the pumpkin. And the New Year packages have put us snowflakes, gingerbread, and Santa. So it'll be, especially the Halloween one is a very, very limited numbers. And it'll be released or dispatched by the Keshe Foundation by 23rd, 25th. And the Santa one will be released before 15th of November, or around about 15th of November. So it's a very limited, very, very few packages are made for this to be. So you can see it, the bat is 250, cat is 500, and a pumpkin is 1,000. The snowflake is 250, gingerbread is 500, and Santa is 1,000. These are mystery packages, as you had before. You all know you got much more than what you bid for. But to be the what do you call it, the Halloween one will leave around about 23rd, 25th. They're just trying to make it surprise as much as possible. Any other question?
Great. Good news. Thanks, Mr. Keshe. Okay, now
I
we have...
will like one of them. I'm sure it's a surprise.
Yes, you think you'd
I don't
get
mind the Halloween one.
out of that.
Yep. Okay.
We have a hand up with Mashfek here. Would you like to please go ahead, Mashfek?
Hello, Mr. Keshe, and hello, everyone. This question is about the goal making. You know, the video that you showed last knowledge seeker workshop of the Chinese, with the Chinese generals, and the whole process of the various material that was present, especially oxides, when the gold was made. As we know from our experiments with gas making and other things, that once we create one field for, let's say, carbon, there are other fields that are created. So in this case, these oxide fields, that various oxide materials that were produced, do some of these material creates the gravitational conditions, since they are oxides, to create enough field pressure to materialize gold and silver and this kind of material. Could you go into a little bit of detail, perhaps, in how the
Explain yourself first. Explain yourself first. Say more.
Okay, what I'm trying to get to is this: the gold that is produced, there is the field of the gold that is created by the machine, but the other materials, the surrounding materials that were present, and that is usually present in gold mines, do these materials create conditions around gold for the materialization process to happen? This is my question. So
yes, yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
It are explained in two or three different ways. This is strange, much like I was talking about you very recently to some knowledge seekers in what happened to you in Italy, because they're asking a question about it, and I was explaining how you took actually the chalice of poison in my place. And we were laughing our head off. I said maybe that matured him. But anyway, it was nice to hear you again. One of the more aggressive world leaders today in power, he came to power for the number time. Usually you're not allowed to be more than 2 times, but this guy's there. He has come to power. Is one of the prominent world leaders we know today. He had no finances, and he was about to lose. I mean, he was 100% lost the election. They came to me about weeks before the election. They sent me a data sheet. They said, we would like, this is the specific scientific system process, and we would like your advice, and would you like to move to the country to advise us? I said, let me understand the process. They send me the process, and they send me the material produced. And some of you might know about this process, but this is exactly what happened. They produced in a matter state, combining certain materials in a certain condition. They produce 16 to, I think if I remember, 20% gold. It looks like gold, it behaves like gold, but it's not gold. But it created a condition to material to look like gold. And they went into mass production of this in kilos. And they paid with this gold because it came from the central bank to the others, and they financed a fake election, vote-out election. And this process is still going on today by the same president. When I received the data sheet, I immediately spoke with the people responsible to the president that this material contains radioactive material. Why is it even considered? Because in the process, certain nuclear elements are released, and we can see it on the data sheet. And they said the process is to win the election, does not matter what the material is. Would you approve it? I said, this is not a way to do things. And the advisor to the president was a very close friend of mine. We know each other for years. He said, Mehran, there is a problem. The president doesn't like what you put forward. And they think you want to promote your technology, and that's why you're putting this forward. I said, it's not my technology. You gave me the data, not me, because the material was analyzed by your scientists. You wanted to understand, and I explained to you, the plutonium production is too high, dangerous. This gold now is in the market, radioactive gold. And today, still financing part of the governmental structure. These materials are byproducts. And 17-20% is actually gold, but in a containment of radiation. Nobody has ever tested gold for radioactivity. This is one of the problems with this. And for this reason, when we did the test, I asked for a specific result without anyone knowing, to see if we have any radioactive material in the materials we produce. And it's zero. So it's a very natural, and it has no mother, it has no source that we can identify our system with, that this material was, has a source we can gain from which country or whatever. The process of production in the plasmatic form is partially connected to the structure of the environment. The material produced in Beijing, even though gold is different than the gold produced in Austria or America or anywhere else we produce, they take part of the characteristics of the inertia of the environment. And so we have to understand huge process, the whole of the picture. When we talk, because of the teaching, we talk narrow band, few points. But in a bigger structure, we are looking at full spectrum of the knowledge. And then you have to understand the relationship between the materials, condition with the relationship between materials, and the rest of it. And how it's produced, how it affects, what emotional effect has to us. People who receive the cosmic rays, they tell you they have different emotions with the material they touch, because the energy level is different. And these are the processes which we have to understand when we talk about these kind of things. What energy? What is the energy? What does effect has on us? Production of the gold has the same emotional field as the apple produced or the lettuce produced by Jim in Australia, where people eat it, it affects their emotion or they enjoy it or whatever. It's a product of the emotion fields which is created, is not a solid matter state. And we have to consider all this when we do it, or when we talk about this subject. And it's one of the things which I am considering very thoroughly with a lot of things we should do. We are part of the Keshe Foundation development. We have reached production of pico materials for computers. And I was in communication with one of the leading system manufacturers in the past few days, that to produce a system that once we produce these what we call cosmic materials as microchips or computers, there's no need for wire, but they have emotion. They know if this chip is going to be used for a weapon or is going to be used for production of a child and life, because it's the way they're produced. So we have to consider additional, not ethical implication, but the system ethic itself is a new dimension in work. And we, especially past week, I'm closely involved with this to produce a system where we produce new communication chips or new what we call instruments of storing. And as you know, as I said before, the Dutch company in Holland is working on about 3 nano. Chinese are happy they come to about 5 or 4 nano. We're talking about pico. But now the system made or to be developed for pico production of the chips has to have a logical, ethical system of its own. And it's another process now. We're looking at how to place, how to produce, and how to separate to do such a thing. And our common belief with the people I work and talk with is that the centimeter cube of this, which is the size of a present microchip, can hold the whole information in all the computers on this planet today. All the nationals, all put everything, you can fix it into 1 cube. And we have to understand what we produce, what ethics brings, and how it affects our society and the people in line. It's not as simple as what it used to be before. If you work in or you have any experience of nano chip or chip production in Silicon Valley, which a lot of you are going out of work, get in touch with Keshe Foundation. We are looking for your experience in the new research center. If you work for companies like ASML in Holland, which lost a huge contract, and you are aware of how to make systems, and the other Dutch and German company we are looking for your expertise in the new research center. We have to develop new system technologies to be able to produce, what do you call it, machines and systems that can deliver ethical operation and universal operation. It's not anymore if it's 0 to 1. It's 0, 1, and emotion. And it cannot be separated because it's part of the characteristic of the system. So nowadays when we speak about production of materials, there is an additional, couple of more additional factors we have to consider. I hope I answered you in a very direct but indirect way.
Yeah, that was very helpful because, you know, the emotional part was not in my thinking, but I was more thinking in terms of the pressure condition of the field. But this is very helpful actually, because especially in transmutation, I think there are some things I'm successful at, some things are not happening. So this particularly helped me in that direction.
Yeah, and try to understand, to work with on the interaction of the fields than the matter state, and it opens up totally different direction dimensions.
Yeah, I'm experiencing it, but you know, having a little more control over it, and this helps in going in that direction. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next time, watch who you sit in the place of, and what you eat.
Well, you know, whatever I eat, I can transform it with emotion. There is that escape route.
Sorry that you had to take the poison. Any other question?
Yes, we had a hand up with Ricardo here, and I believe he would like to probably express what he put in the chat here, which is, hi and greetings from Mexico. I'm a master product and concept designer, graduated from the School of Design of the National Institute of Fine Arts here in Mexico, with a specialty in interior design. I would love to collaborate with the foundation for research and development. So what would you suggest to someone that has those aspirations, Mr. Keshe?
Interior design will be one of the ways of, actually, one of the most fundamental ways of interacting the fields and humanity. Somebody who understands the work of the fields and can design systems that we can be in it, you're going to be very, very useful. Send your CV to info@keshe.foundation. We might get in touch with you. If you understand the work of the plasma and you're an interior designer, you could be quite useful in the work of the foundation.
Okay, just looking for the email. I'll put it in the chat here. info@keshe.foundation.
Yeah. Put on it interior design as a subject. Don't expect a quick answer. We never answer quick. We never do anything fast in Keshe Foundation. But you might receive a reply in the next 5 or 10 years.
And when you do get a reply, it'll probably be urgent and
that's
better be on your toes.
Usual. You see, the problem with a lot of our knowledge seekers is that they don't understand the full concept of the work. Not understanding, they cause themselves a lot of problem, or they don't see part of their success because they're not aware of what they do. And this is what we're trying to bring aware of in the whole process. Any other question?
Well, we have a number of questions in the Q&A here, so I'll just take it from the top. From Cristiano. Oh, actually, the question is from Alexandra from the Brazilian community, who says, I understand that Moses's greatest mission was to bring knowledge of one God and also moral laws with the commandments. It is true that he encountered a people whose hearts were very hardened and who lacked the maturity to accept these new ideas at that time. And perhaps it was necessary for them to remain in the desert for 40 years. At that time, they were a politically servile people, which made his mission even more difficult. But that does not mean that we agree with and accept the evil things he did. What does it mean to remove God's love from Moses's blood?
We take the love of God from the tribe of Moses. This is what it says. Actually, this is, I think, in a very different wording is verse in Quran. And the whole process is that the enlightenment, the love, what we call, when you receive love, you become active, you become living. And that's what it means. And we've seen him, this tribe has gone down the chute, and it's still going even worse. Nation without morality. Any other question?
There's a following statement. It says, I believe that Jesus Christ is the planetary Christ of planet Earth, and that he came to implement a civilizing policy on Earth, but that even today humanity is struggling to learn and bring about this change. Is it possible for a Christic spirit like Christ, even when manifested in a human body, to fall or fail in his mission on Earth, allowing himself to become involved with human pleasures?
Didn't he? He did. Today is the Yom Kippur. Actually, we're going to the last parts of the Yom Kippur. And Moses didn't bring any holidays or ceremonies or these things. They just added by the man as they brought their influences into the work of a religion. But the whole thing is, Christ was too busy. I think he enjoyed the love of the Creator too much, and he wanted to share. That's what I say all the time. And I usually joke about it with friends, especially the Christian people, and say he didn't get it right. That's why he got himself on the news. Because he lost the plot. That the attention and the love became more directed in a different direction actually to humanity. But it was big enough that he could cover the humanity. But the rest of it is what we see today. Most of all the what we call information is given in purity to how it's changed by and how it changed for brings humanity to where it is now. You got to understand, prior to Moses and prior to Muhammad and prior, not the time of Christ so much, there were so many different religions. And these religions, they just didn't come up to become the top. They uprooted the old ones that they could stand out. If you look at the Islam, if you look at the Judaism, that's how they've been. They destroyed many gods for them to be the God. And that did not bring the ethos of Mitra or Kurosh. With the love, it came with the sword. Then this is where the difference comes, and this is where mankind has to learn from. The message was pure. The messenger got tainted. Any other question?
Okay, very good. From George, who's asking if Mr. Keshe has some thoughts or views about the Buga metallic sphere. Have you heard about this Buga sphere that they found in South America, I believe, or Mexico?
Yes, I have no comment. You see, one of the things we're receiving from 3i is very geometric in the information, the structure. So when you see geometry and that kind of things on any, it's not the exclusivity of man. And can it be a man which is copied one of the work of the universe?
Well, he mentions CT scan confirmed that it has inside it 3 systems. Mainly, it has a star formation, apparently, and it can vary its weight, can fly and land. It's cold to the touch and has holes with small wires of optical fiber on them, and a carbon dating set the age at 12,000 years. I believe that was for the resin on the unit. But what caught his attention was the similarity between this thing that came from the sky and the pictures of the latest Keshe Foundation reactor that you showed us a couple of times, the gray metallic sphere with lots of wires hanging above. But if you prefer not to speak about that right now.
There's not much we can talk about this. It's just, I'm aware of it. I watch it, but design crosses and dots is not what we call unique to humanity. So we can attach anything to it. If you go back on the internet, you can check. A few years ago, farmers in Africa and South America, on the same line of horizon on both sides of Atlantic, found a 1 meter diameter balls. They didn't know what it was. They just found them in the farms. They found, I think, about 4 of them. And if you go to the original design we did with the Belgian government scientists measurement and the data, is a 1 meter diameter sphere. And nobody knew what these are for. Go on the internet and search and you'll see. These things are found around the world, but what purpose, how it was done, and what's the reason it's done, and what technology they used does not necessarily means from outside. The characteristics of the 4 balls found, as I think it's 2 in Africa, and whatever, they are exactly the design which was given to the company in Belgium. 1 meter diameter composition, and when I saw it, I thought, have the dare to test. Go on the internet, you find it. They don't know what material is and the rest of it, you see it there. When you find these things, you have to understand what's behind it, where to and how. Any other?
We had a question from Ike, who has also had the same question in the Keshe Plasma Reactor group yesterday. He says, good morning, Mr. Keshe. Last week you said R2 has a combination of C14, carbon 14. I understand that carbon 14 is the energy of a plasma. Could you explain how that spaceship is in a combination of carbon 14? Thank you.
It's producing what we see in nickel, which is 56 isotope with radiation beta and radiation alpha, which there is a huge amount of gamma, which is in a cosmic ray radiation field, which is never detected by scientists. And if you put 4 times 14 gives you 56. 4 times 14 creates a star formation field. If you understand, then I think it answers a lot of your questions about creation.
Okay, now you're talking about in the plasmatic state rather than actual solid formation. Four times.
When it converts, when it converts, what we detect is a matter state. We don't detect the energy, so we haven't built systems to detect the energy. All our systems conformation of matter state. And what gets converted to a matter state, we detect and we confirm its status that. Something very interesting, let's call it the seed for the thought. If you remember, last week I explained the existence of nickel releasing radiation to the spectrum of green, and something, a seed for a thought, is a teaser, I call it. Martians are green. What's the connection and why this object is targeting Mars? Does the atmosphere of the Mars pair with the potassium, not the sodium, in combination of ion field of the nickel, does it create a shining green man, which man calls from the Mars, the green man, the Martian? Just observation.
I bet we'll have a new TV show based on the old one called My Favorite Martian. Then it'll be a replay of those early shows in a way. Maybe that's fun.
You remember the Invisible Man, which was a toilet roll around him, and he couldn't see when the toilet roll came off. I think it'll be one way for us to confirm who's come from I3. Wrap it in the cloth and you see it moving.
Interesting. Okay, we have a hand up with Carl here. Carl, would you like to go ahead, please?
Yes, hello. Carl here from Australia, checking in. Yeah, Mr. Keshe, I've been thrashing around whether to ask this question for a number of weeks, but I'm just going to put it out there.
You better don't, because we don't have an answer for it. Carry on, no problem.
Well, you are a fanatic on R&D. And I just want to ask, at a strategic level, it seems like all of your resources are channeled into R&D, and I just wonder what resources, what capacity is left to do the sort of advocacy and outreach that could lead to more press, more supporters. Oh God, there's my cooking alarm. More supporters.
See that cooking, don't lose the lamb. You're going to be hungry. See to the lamb
I
first.
know. But who's running behind you and helping do things? I don't hear of much of the team anymore, who the people are.
A lot of people of the people who run around the Keshe Foundation, we have hidden them for different reasons. And we're keeping, some of you are in touch with a few of them here and there, but in essence, the key people, especially in research development and people who do different jobs, are kept for security reasons out of the way. Even if they become public, we hide them again back somewhere else. The 90% of the work of the Keshe Foundation is in R&D. And it's a process of building it step by step.
Yeah.
And mass production manufacturing has not such in our target. We tried it a few times. We're too much involved in research and then we get diverted. It has to be done in conjunction with governments or people who are hungry to be rich. And we are working on that side, but 90% of our work at this moment of time is in our research and development of different aspects.
I just keep thinking back to that $2 million you need, and there's so many reports. I keep thinking back to that call out for millions of dollars you needed to complete the R&D, and just wonder why we don't get a few reports together that create news that has a strong base of evidence compiled across 3 scientific labs where it's independently tested. For me, the easiest test to do is to mimic the carbon sequestration of a reactor in a box with a carbon dioxide reader and watch that drop over 36 hours, however long it is. Compile the evidence.
We done all that way. You got to understand the number of scientists, number of research papers in Europe, South America, and in Asia, hundreds of them, did this. And in their reports, maybe some of the scientists who are here can come up and tell us themselves, mentioned they use the Keshe Foundation technology. They were told, you delete it, otherwise your PhD would not be given. Your papers will not be published. This is the problem. And part of our technology in a big way is used by many companies, has come out of new inventions, but if you look at it, it's a Keshe Foundation technology behind it. So, you know the story of the guy with the Viper? The guy who invented the Viper for the Windows never got a single cent of royalty out of it. He spent 20 years, all his money borrowed everywhere to get his patent approved. By the time he got it, was past 20 years and he lost it. And every car used the Viper. We're in that position, but luckily we don't concentrate. We develop the structure that moves from one to another. And we're lucky where we are. And even we tried to, a few years ago, raise the funds to set up a massive collaboration for production of mass production. We got hit by the massive fraud, as we are all aware of it, for millions of dollars. And so we stick to what we do till the right time comes, and R&D, that's what we are good at and what we do. By the way, I have a news for you. Most probably, those of you who live in Australia, you might come across it in the next few weeks. The people who defrauded the Keshe Foundation, the lady, and most probably the gentleman, They've been arrested and they're about to be convicted. And hopefully, out of the conviction, we will receive some of the funds which they were stolen. And hopefully those of you who helped us will be, what we call it, receive your support back, which is a fraction of what was actually involved. It's tens of millions involved. And we have been invited by prosecutor to attend the court for the hearing. Just arrived in past 48 hours. And it proves that we never told you anything wrong. We were set up by the world structure, and thanks to the chief prosecutor of the Austrian government and thanks to the police of Austria, the case now has reached its final position, and hopefully in the next few weeks and months, we should be able to get the verdict, as they think 100% is a sealed verdict, because the depth of the fraud is so deep that some of the millions which was stolen from the work of the foundation will come back in, and then we might consider that time to look again into commercialization, but in a different way. But I thank especially the chief prosecutor of Vienna and the police of Austria for their relentless. They have spent hundreds of thousands of hours bringing this case into court. And I thank the office of the what we call the prosecutors of Vienna for such a beautiful work. At the beginning, when we went in, they said, it was a lot of skepticism and everything else. And when they gathered the information together, now it has led to, and I'm sure you will hear it in the news, if they don't hide it again. So we hopefully will have an outcome out of this in the next few months, now that the arrest has been made. And the lady is in the dock, as we say. I'll inform you as the what do you call it, the court case takes shapes.
Mr. Keshe, I've got to just come at it from one other angle. It's good to hear that news, that you are being protected by the law on some level. But surely we could raise $6,000 and hire 3 independent commercial labs to do that carbon sequestration test, video it, cut it up.
It's been done.
But
the oil companies already have the answer for the CO2 crisis, which is to pump the CO2 into the ground. It's very big business for them now.
It's brilliant.
Subsidized by the government.
Let me tell you something very interesting. There are knowledge seekers on the line. They listen. They know who it is. One of the leaders of the, what do you call it, top guys in Keshe Foundation, he's on the line, or he listens to it. He knows who he is. We went to China Gas Corporation headquarters with the top appointed academician of Chinese government. We took our systems in. We showed the absorption. We showed the production of the gas. What did the academician do? I don't understand it. Because China Gas Corporation has got a 400 billion contract to dump the gas into the ground and hide it in there. And he's one of those who signed to it. If you want to release his name, Chinese government can go after him. We've done that. It's been done. We have one of our collaborators in another part of the world, which now they're trying to get us to work with another organization in America for the same job. But there is a twist into this that, as I said, we don't release a lot of knowledge, but there's a twist in CO2, huge twist, that it'll be to the benefit of the Keshe Foundation. You just gotta wait. The benefit of the Keshe Foundation CO2 capture, with capturing reduction in CO2, is nothing compared to what is there to be done. But as you know, we learn. We keep very quiet, very, 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 very quietly. If you are in a commercialization of any part of the Keshe Foundation technology, and you've done research and development in any part, and you need, not just so you're making something, little ganses and you sell. There are a large number of knowledge seekers who are around the world. They have set up companies and they do little things with the Keshe Foundation technology and add something else, and they're making a living, but they're adding technologies or using technology different way. Get in touch with Keshe Foundation. If we see appropriate, we bring you under umbrella and we'll give you facilities for research and development and commercialization. We already have started. It's not something we're going to do. We already started with a number of knowledge seekers who have shown a viable commercial business, and they, at the moment, done research. They do some other work, so combine the Keshe Foundation technology with others, but still at the banner of there using the plasma technology. They're joining us. It's just getting set up. We are looking for, it doesn't matter which country you're in. We don't want retailers or resellers or somebody who just makes a GANs. Some of the knowledge seekers have gone through the research development into setting up companies, agriculture, and all sorts. Get in touch with us. We'll look at it. We might even bring you into the research side, or bring your company into research, development, and commercialization. You run it in conjunction with the Keshe. We don't want to get involved in your side of business. But if we see something advantageous towards our work, we bring you in. We already have agreed with a few of the knowledge seekers this way. They're merging their companies into Keshe Foundation, but they run it because they understand the commercialization of their work and what the knowledge from the Keshe Foundation can do. If you are doing such a thing, you develop the technology and you want to reach higher, deeper research, yes, we are ready to discuss. If you have any experience with bioagriculture, deep way of bioagriculture, in conjunction with the Keshe Foundation technology, and you already run a commercial venture, but you still do research and other thing, we would like to speak with you. If you do anything with, as part of the work using the gas technology, with the what you call regeneration of, or getting more active, or what do you call it, changing of the, whatever you call it, the energy, we are interested to talk with you. If you run a company on this basis or you develop part of the technology, to join the Keshe Foundation Research and Development and Commercial. You run the commercialization, we create the ground for it. And we join you with the others, especially those of you who are in bio production of the, what you call, agriculture. We are looking for people with experience, large experience with the culture, because we bring everything together and we give it an umbrella of the work of the Keshe Foundation in a very large scale. Get in touch, info@keshe.foundation. Those of you who have experience in, as I said, microchips, production of microchips, systems, not the chips themselves, so much systems, we are interested to know. those of you very good in system controls of the what we call advanced plasma technology, we're interested to know. There are a large number of Americans who are becoming unemployed in these fields. We're interested to talk, but on the understanding that you run already a business and you want to bring it into what we call a larger scale research and development facilities, and you bring in everything in and we put everything together. Shall we call it a day?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you indeed.
Sure, if you wish, Mr. Keshe.
If you want another one question or two, we answer, and there we go. I received a note. Please, those of you for Halloween and New Year, or what we call the Christmas package, once we reach that, because of the shortage of time, there can't be a large quantity of it produced. Please complete whatever it is, because they're going to block it. It's very few numbers. It's just something was done, and due to circumstances was delayed in delivery by and completion. So the numbers are very limited. Ask me one more question, and there we go. Are we there?
Hello, yes, I'll turn on my microphone here. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll have Mehran have the last question here, but just before that, just let me make just let me verbalize the comment from Francielli from the Brazilian community, who says, through today's teachings, I felt my soul expand, and I had several insights as well as memories of other teachings that helped me better understand today's. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for all these valuable teachings. I love you very much.
Thank you very much.
Mariners, would you like to go ahead, please?
Yes. Hello, Rick. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much also for teaching today. We need it in these days, which are the worries about a new non-stop wars, getting more dirty and not very human. And so that was a good news, and gave me a lot of gratitude and emotion of thanks to whoever, whatever universe. So my question is, I would like to know if you think it might be only the nature of the power who makes man corrupted. Like, for example, Moses, who was chosen because he was detached, he was becoming a spiritual because of all the passage of through desert and loneliness and everything. And then he was okay, continuing. And then in one moment when he gets to power and a lot of people follow him and bow to him and put him in a very high place, maybe at that moment he thinks, I'm like my Almighty God myself. I did it myself, so I had qualities to get where I am. And he forgets that he's just a slave of God. He's just a messenger of God. And that makes him decide the things which he couldn't do that before when he was a detached and honest prophet. So yeah, there is a lady called Louise Michel in 1800s that she's an anarchist, and she said, you give power to a man as much honest it can be, after that, it becomes dishonest, it's become a thief, corrupt, and worse. So it's the nature of power which corrupts some and give me weak hearts. So what's your opinion about that? And is that power which makes people also corrupt because of the reaction of people when they put someone in a place that you are God, they open the cars for him, the door of the cars, they bow to him, they do a lot of fuss, and that person changes the respect of others, respect of whatever put him in that place. They think it's me who did it, me. So that's why they lose respect for other humans. Very difficult to make power happy.
No, power is a worse poison than the money, which corrupts. Some people pass the money. They never get corrupted by money, but they get corrupted by power. The worst thing, I come from a background brought up in this society, unfortunately, of power, wealth, and everything else. And unfortunately, in my business life and now in the Keshe Foundation, have been constantly in this kind of, or connected to this kind of people, this kind of society, due to whatever reasons. And I was talking about this in the past week with somebody very close to me. And we see it all. Men, they are can be corrupted very easy. But you see the bigger corruption when it becomes man and his wife. Politicians, humans, are very much, they are there on their own, they accept things, they do deals, they get corrupted by finances. But the power corruption, what I've seen amazingly in many cases, comes from their wives. Usually incompetent, married to the man with whatever reason gets to the top or to a position of power. And then she sees herself, it's me who decides. We see this with the wife of the Netanyahu. Huge percentage of the problems of Netanyahu with the behavior is his wife. We see this with the wife of Charles. We see this with the wife of the ex-Prime Minister of England, which is jumping from pole to post to stay a politician to stay out of prison. We see this in I've seen this many people, not just at the top, at the different levels of even world of finance. It's the wives who have no financial power to bargain or to be corrupted by, but they get corrupted by the position of the husband coming into power, they think they can do. And I've been on one of the ends of this where in the past 10 years. And I thought, what a shame. What an absolute shame. Yes, power corrupts, but usually the wives, more than the husbands. Husbands get corrupted by the money, wives get corrupted by the power because the husband is in a position they can do. I was explaining this to that why the discussion was on. You never see, very hardly see politicians with their wives. Very few wives come out. Because they usually, when they get married to these women, they were young, they were ugly, it doesn't matter. Now they come to power, they're in their 50s, 60s, their wives is so ugly, that they are ashamed to turn up with her. So the wife put the pressure and everything is the power from inside. Which very, very top politicians, very few of them appear in any function with their wives, because their wives, all sorts of, because I speak with them, says, I'm ashamed to go with her. How can you take this woman out? And when they get to that point, they get corrupted because they don't have the financial position, but they think they have the power because of the husband, and they can say what they like. You all seen that with my ex-wife. Most uneducated, think with you lot knowledge seekers of being there, got corrupted with the power, I can do everything. Yes, it does. Power corrupts, but usually the partners, because they can't do what the man takes in the bank. Tony Blair is one of them. He came in with not wealth. He went out as one of the richest men in the history of British politics, 18 billion. The wife, as a lawyer, ran the show. Yes, it does. Now he's supposed to be Middle Eastern envoy for Gaza, because there is more bribe to be paid and he's there to get it. He managed to get bribe from the Queen of England. You don't know how much royal family paid him not to lose the crown and stay in power. That's who the people who look after him now. He's still there. And it was all done by his wife, because she had the power and she was a lawyer. She knew how to hide it. 2019, estimated asset 18 billion.
So
They do.
what's the solution? Yes, Papa. Excuse me.
Well, carry on.
So what's the antidote, the solution? Not to
Make. I don't know. This is the question. I had, tackled it for a long time.
I know a person, I think we should be very modest. I know a person who is very modest, and but very rare are people like this.
No, but it is what they are. They are what they are. You cannot change it. We cannot change it. It's a habit of the man, partially themselves. I know Prime Minister, very good friend of mine. He was a mayor. He became a minister. He then became the Prime Minister. And we used to meet quite often. In the time he was the minister of a very high position minister, he was so much in contact with the president all the time, because we met quite regularly. The president fell in love with his wife. And the husband, the two president and the prime minister at that time, minister, switched wives. He divorced his wife, the president divorced his wife, and they married each other's wife, and with the children they shared. And one day I went to his office. He said, Mehran, I can't see you. I'll tell you what it is. My wife wants to see you. She says, when Mehran is in town, send him to me. I said, we're going out for dinner tomorrow night. He says, no, just go and see her. She wants to see you. I said, okay. He said, the driver is downstairs. He's taking you. I went to the television station, where she was the CEO of the television station. She, sitting across the table, we're friends. She kept on showing me her shoes. I looked at it and I said, I noticed the shoe. What's the problem? He said, you're a man of diamond. Have you noticed my shoes? I said, that's why he sent me here, for you to flaunt me your shoes. He said, you're an expert. Then you see, she made a pair of shoes laced with diamond and emerald and all the jewels you can to be on her shoes, to say even the jewels of the world are at my feet. I said, do you know something to her? Because we're friends. I said, you know, it doesn't matter what you do, you don't become as good as your husband. She says, you never change, Mehran. I said, I'll see you tomorrow night for dinner. I saw the show. You understand?
Yes.
This is how the power sits in the hand of women, and the man control the money, but at the end, it's the benefit for both ways. This is part of the life of these people who sit in these kind of positions. There's no cure for it. Man always wants to say, I'm better, I have this and I have that.
Sometimes people are honestly doing something good. They are. I imagine
one of the knowledge seekers can tell you he's listening. I don't mention name. We've been negotiating. We came to an agreement very recently in past, very recent past. And everything went okay. The test, the results, everything went perfect. Clinical trials, results were good. Everything else was good. And then they decided to set up a company. When we set the company up, guess who turned up? The wife. A powerful military man has no say in front of his wife. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Who she will sell the nation for? The secrets of the nation in bed shared. The knowledge seekers is listening, he knows what I'm talking about. Incompetent.
Yeah.
The husband was getting the benefit, and the funny thing is they brought the son to be the shareholder in the company to cover their backside. But the mother was a decision maker in the house with the power, because she had no power, him being a military general. Now you understand. There's no cure. If we can cure women, we can cure the whole world.
No, not possible this way. Sometimes people have to do compromise also, even though they are honest. They think if I'm in this position, I have to do some compromises, which is not very, very desired and top clean. So that's because they think in their power they can do more better than wrong.
In a way, you see, you lot just watch the news. We analyze the position that made the news. We saw early September the president of Iran attending a meeting in Beijing, followed on the shadow with his daughter. We saw him in America last year, followed by his daughter. This year, New York, no visa was issued to the family of the president. Daughter interfering too much because now the father is in power. That's your president position. Daughters, power corrupt. You understand? Let alone wives.
Uh-huh.
You understand?
Yes, yes.
We see the same in the British monarchy. Everybody always thought that Queen of England was so perfect. Why is Prince Andrew kicked out of the royal family? With no titles, he lives in an apartment. Because in 1986, DNA tests confirmed that he is not from Prince Philip, but Queen gave birth to a child. They couldn't say that the Queen sleeps around, does she? You understand?
Yeah.
And we had in 80s that they were accident. They found the man sitting on her bed. Yet the guy was there whole night. They just found him because he had to go out. And they found him again a few months later in the same bed with the queen. So power and money corrupts both ways. In the British monarchy, we have Prince Andrew. Now we know his whole relationship with, God knows, Epstein and the rest of it, because he went haywire. He found out that he's not a royal. Doesn't come from the royal bloodline, from the father's side. Exactly. So he's kicked out. Yeah, that's why he's kicked out. The boy doesn't know who their father is, so I do what I like. Understand?
And these people of power, are they a chance that when the magnetic gravitation of the earth and the events change the character of people, are they part of them change and become like normal people? I mean, honest.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You see, we went as Keshe Foundation to Ghana with the influence and connection. Knowledge seekers are listening, they know who I'm talking about, with the support of CIA, people who are connected to CIA with the Ghanaian government. You have to understand, an Iranian nuclear physicist, that time under all sanctions, opened the factory wall to wall next to the only nuclear reactor in Africa, highly secure. You wouldn't be done without CIA clearing us through. We made the arrangement. We had a conference. Those are knowledge seekers who were with us, they know what I'm talking about. Into Ghana with the full support, collaboration of the American government. And while we were setting things up, there was an election, the president changed, the new president, prior to becoming president, supported us. I was in the house, in the garden of the president before he goes to the parliament the first time. He went in, all agreed, he came back, power corrupted him. The first time he gave a talk to the Ghanaian parliament. His cabinet, we had everything sorted. They told us, you build it up, we take it from you. And then what happened? We ran straight away head on with the Minister of Science and Technology of Ghana, who wanted the technology for himself. And that's where we ran. They accused of everything. They never said that the Ghanaian minister wanted the whole of the Keshe Foundation technology and the factory. Corrupt. The minute they walked into the office. And then they went with the Belgians to do it. If you remember, I put a press conference with tens and tens of press conferences, international, in the hotel in Ghana, explaining the situation. And it was corrupted because they took millions from the Chinese to let the Chinese nuclear reactor to the only nuclear reactor in Africa, which is good for medical application, was sold. The guy took his bribe and he came to China. This is the problem. Corruption and the money together. This is how we run into problem in Ghana. I was in the house of the president, elected. They just said, wait. We waited in the house while he went to the parliament, came back, and he came back a different man. The power got to him in the car. Many knowledge seekers have been with me in dinings and things around the world with the heads of states, ambassadors, government ministers. Corruption exists on both sides. And it's the man changes with the money or corruption. And usually look into the wife, you see the traces of it.
Yes, because women are more worldly pride. They look for showing off more than men.
Yeah.
Changing the clothes, men have just one suit for everything. Maybe they are more shallow.
It depends what they allow, what they do. I used to work with 10 Downing Street very closely with John Major, and then with the next guy, because of the structure of the work I had and the companies I had running in the UK. And we were never allowed to go through the front door. We always went through the back door of the Downing Street. And you saw different side of these people, outside or inside, or when it came to negotiation for different things. John Major helped a lot. Tony Blair was very, very clear in what he wanted what to do. And if it was to the benefit of something, he always was there. But if you came across his wife, forget about it. It was money before I say hello. One of my companies worked within the structure of the, what do you call it, British government for years. And it was inseparable. We were involved so close. It had decisions has to be made at the Downing Street level, not even the ministerial level. When I announced I want to nuclear material from British government to do the first nuclear test of the gravitational lift and motion, where I was asked to attend. I explained this before at the Military Museum in Manchester, next to Manchester United, if you know Manchester. When I went to the meeting, just asking for nuclear material to do the first test, because I used to work for British Nuclear Fuel before. In the room, maybe 2 by 3, a small room with this round table, there were 5 people in there, and the guy stood up and said, "Hello, Mr. Keshe." He said, "We were waiting for you." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We watched you from Queen Mary College. We knew you come up. You're working on something since then. We watched all your research, hidden research you've been running. You're welcome." And I said, "Yes." He said, "We are not signing. We want to do a non-disclosure with you, but not with the Ministry of Defense. You're signing non-disclosure with the Minister of Defense because of your background work with 10 Downing Street." And that paper is somewhere in the archives of the Keshe Foundation. You can still find it. I signed a non-disclosure with a minister, not the Ministry of British Defense. We were so highly connected, even in the research development, directly put back in the hand of the cabinet. You see, this is somewhere. I have that paper and it's been locked. And the same ministers, I know their families and their wives and how they are influenced. I have a theory which is very, very, very good theory, because I've seen it many times. I call it the theory of the door frame of a house. It's called the theory of the door. On this side of the door, men are ministers, doctors, professors, street cleaners, whatever. They have a position and the rank and they're something. When the man puts the key into the door of the house and gets in, on the other side of the door, he knows nothing, he doesn't understand anything, and she knows everything and she controls everything. That's called the wife. No man has found the secret of this door yet. How come one side we are who we are outside and who we are inside? And that's the position of power they use inside the house. The man on this side of the house door gets corrupted by money. On the other side, the woman of the house gets corrupted by their power. Always call it the secret of the door. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. God bless you.
Yes, thank you very much. See you next week. And hopefully we'll have another week of peace, which I don't think is going to be in this week. But we're still heading for that. conflict, which is much, much different. It could change in the next 6 to 12 hours once the Yom Kippur is over and the Jews had the celebration of fasting of killing. Thank you very much and see you next time.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much for another workshop here and for answering people's questions. Any questions remaining, please bring them over to next week. And if we're all here still, we'll be answering more questions. And thank you, everybody, for attending today's 610th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. Our next public teaching workshop, just let me get the calendar up here, will be on the 7th, Tuesday the 7th, with the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, and that's with members of the Universal Council, and it starts at the 4 p.m. Central European Time. Again, that's on Tuesday, October 7th. Okay, and let me see, there was an announcement from the Universal Council I'd like to read here. Let's see if I can get it arranged. There we are. It's from Lissy through the Universal Council. And says, we, the Universal Council, invite you to freely unite your souls every 3 hours, unifying them to illuminate the souls of all leaders and find the path to permanent peace, avoiding the suffering of physicality on this planet. Okay, thank you, Universal Council, for that. And thank you, everyone, for attending today's workshop. We'll see you in the next public teaching workshop, perhaps. And bye for now. Big thank you to Mr. Keshe, of course, for being there for us every week for the last 610 workshops in a row, continuously every week. And I think he's only been late maybe twice in that entire time. It's fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, bye for now, everyone. And we'll go out with our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit. And bye for now.